Tubers, tubettes, and of course the colorful collection of crazy people. This is going to be a story about a man that wrote me an email that was the most confusing, confounding, and sad stories that I think I've heard since I moved here. And it has had me puzzled for more than 3 months. It was this morning that I think I had a little bit of an epiphany, and because it just keeps knocking around in my head. So without a lot of further ado, I want to share with you what this guy told me in his email. And I'm really looking for feedback from you to see if you think that what I finally realized this morning, if you think I'm correct, or if you have your own spin on it also. All right, so here's my story about the email. All right, so like I said in the introduction, I'm going to tell you a story. It's a true story. I'm sticking to it. And it's been in my head now for over 3 months. And just now, I think I had a little epiphany, and I figured out why this guy did what he did. And you're asking, well, Paul, what did he do? Well, here you go. He reached retirement age like many of us. He decided that he needed a change. He didn't like the condition of America anymore. All the dissension, all the debates, all of the quagmire that it's just become, the mess. I'm not going to go into all of it. You know what I'm talking about. It's become almost hostile in the States from what I'm hearing. And that is not a good environment for one to be in, especially at our age. We don't deserve it. We are entitled to enjoy the last years of our life, the winter of our life, and so it's up to us to take the bull by the horns and make the necessary changes to improve it and be able to enjoy it. We earned it. We should own it. This gentleman decided the same thing. He went about his business, did the proper due diligence of Googling and looking up a year or two before his retirement, best places to retire, cheapest places to retire, safest places to retire, etc., etc. Dialed it down to 2 or 3 different countries, investigated them further, and then on his own came to the conclusion that the Philippines would be the best fit for him. He even decided that Dumaguete, Philippines, sleepy little Dumaguete, was going to be the place that he thought he would fit into and would be a place that he could set up camp and begin the winter of his life. I don't know if he had any romantic inclinations or not. I know he didn't have any economic issues. I think he just wanted to make a change. He had enough money coming in from 2 different pensions that wasn't going to be an issue. He sold his home and had, I think, $200,000 to $300,000 left over from the proceeds of the sale. So far, so good, right? He had called the banks. He had called the credit card companies. He had obviously listened to a lot of different people, gleaned a lot of information from the web and other sources, and made sure that when he made the transition over here, it would be as smooth as possible and he would hit as few roadblocks as he could. He bought a ticket. He bought a throwaway ticket. He was ready to rock and roll. And the day that he was to leave America and come to the Philippines, he picked up the phone, called the airline, and canceled. Didn't go. Now, I honestly just didn't know how to respond to that. And I asked him a couple of rudimentary questions. Are you afraid of flying? No. Are you afraid of this? No. Are you afraid of that? No. The weather's going to be different. Is that going to be a problem? No. Are you walking away from a lot of close family ties? Are you ingrained in the culture? Are you a member of a church or something that you feel guilty that you're going to be kind of leaving or abandoning children or any of that? Nope. None of those things were blocking him from going. And I said, well, what is it then? And he said, Paul, I just can't get out of my own way. And I really just kind of wanted to give the guy a hug at that point in time, because I too have felt that way where, I'm my own worst enemy. I think most of us are. And I think most of us know what our problems are, and I think that most of us know how to solve our problems. Whether we choose to do so or not is, again, up to us. Of course, there's external forces we have no control over. So I chatted him up, and he said, well, I'm just going to leave it at that. Thanks for your time. And I never heard from him again. So I got to thinking, there was nothing holding this man there. Not that the Philippines is some kind of paradise or nirvana, but it certainly has improved my life tremendously, and I've watched and observed it improve countless other guys. I've also seen other guys come over here and just totally implode and hate it and leave. And that's all good too. It's not for everybody. I can't repeat that enough. But I got to wondering, what was it that caused him to pick up the phone and cancel it? And it was this morning that I think I answered my own question. I think that this gentleman, in some weird way, shape, or form, knowing what was ahead of him, felt for some reason that he didn't deserve it. I don't know if I'm right. I don't know if I'm wrong. But you know what I've been hearing lately so much from guys coming over here, especially from the States, from America, North America for you purists, is that men are just being, I thought we were getting beat up when I lived there, but men are just being reduced daily in their status, their stature, and their self-esteem. If you look at somebody the wrong way, you might get your ass chewed by a 19-year-old. There's more danger in America right now. There's all this negative stuff that you're seeing on the news. You got this influx at the border. Many people are upset about that. You've got inflation running rampant. This wasn't the guy's problem, though. Like I mentioned, he had plenty of money. He had sold the house. So inflation wasn't bothering him. I don't think the border was particularly in his backyard. But what was it during his life that were people just beating on him? Was his employer degrading him? Did his children disrespect him and leave him and refuse to write to him or talk to him? Was he married to somebody that was constantly belittling him? Or did he do something so wrong and so horrible that he felt that he didn't deserve happiness anymore? Impossible to tell from an email. This is going to be an extremely short video. I simply wanted to relate to you the one thing that I heard throughout this conversation was, I can't get out of my own way. What happened, in your opinion? Please tell me in the comments. I'm looking for help here. I'm not trying to help this guy particularly now because I've lost contact with him. But I'm just trying to understand it. And I'm curious if anybody else feels that way. And what do you think of my little analogy here? Do you think that he's been beat up by people all of his life? Has he got a mommy problem, a daddy problem? Is his self-esteem just so low that he doesn't feel like he deserves the happiness that he might encounter and find over here? None of it's guaranteed. I can't guarantee anybody anything if you hop on a plane and come over here and say, oh, your life's going to be nirvana, because it's not. Most guys come over here and it's like we took 500 pounds off their back or our backs. And they're happy, they're satisfied, they've reignited their youth to some degree, and it's been very, very positive. There's also a percentage, kids, that this is not for them. It wasn't a fit, but I applaud them for coming over and giving it a try. I would like to give this guy a little golf clap for finally getting onto the plane, coming over and snooping around. Because, you know, the worst thing that can possibly happen, this is what I told myself when I came over. I said, if I don't like it, I can always go back. So please, if you can, tell me why you think this guy simply can't get out of his own way. Thanks. I'll see you in the next video.